Welcome to the Brain Friendly Reading video on how to do cut-up sentences. I have here a sentence page from the Game of Books. This sentence page is for all short vowels. That means that there's not anything on this page that hasn't already been taught to the children in the lessons book. And now, on this page, we have a chance for children to read the sentences and to do a couple of different activities with the sentences. So let me show you what that is. One way that you can do cut-up sentences is to take a portion of the sentences and literally cut them into their sentence strips. Doesn't take much time. And then take each sentence and cut it at a place that makes sense. Here we left the subject and the verb on this side and the prepositional phrase on the other side. It really doesn't matter too much. Someplace that makes sense. Now we're going to mix these up. And we can arrange them so that all the sentences with the period are on one side and the sentences that have the capital are on the other side. If you mixed them all up and gave them to the child to sort, that would be a point of interest for them. What comes in the beginning? The capital. And if that's a point of interest that your child needs to practice, then have the child do the sorting of the sentences. Then the child is going to take one beginning piece and read it. Pam sat. And then he's going to try it out. Pam sat on a big log. Pam sat on a big log. Ooh, that makes sense. Let's just check the other ones. Pam sat his cat. No, that doesn't make sense. Pam sat the bat. Pam sat 10 hens. Yes, I agree. Pam sat on the log. That does make sense. And we'll move it up to the top of our table or to the side of the table, whatever makes sense to you and your workspace. Let's try the next one. Tim pats his cat. Well, that kind of makes sense. Tim pats the bat. Tim pats 10 hens. I agree. Tim pats his cat. What would that look like if Tim were going to pat his cat? Yeah, he pats his cat. Let's try the next one. Jen got the bat. Yeah, I mean, I guess she could have gone over and gotten the bat. Jen got 10 hens. Well, maybe she went and got 10 hens. Let's try this next one and see what makes sense. Jim hid the bat. Oh, you think it matches because of the paper? Yeah, I can see that too. Jim hid 10 hens. I guess Jim could hide 10 hens. That would be tricky, wouldn't it? You'd have to have a big place to hide them. Well, which one do you want to do? You want to do Jim hid the bat? All right, maybe he hid the bat in his closet. Jen got 10 hens. Maybe she got 10 hens as a birthday present. All right, let's read all of our sentences. Pam sat on a big log, Tim pats his cat, Jim hid the bat, and Jen got 10 hens. And the child can go back through and read all the sentences again. You can also mix them up again if the child would like another turn, or do the same activity with another set of sentences. These sentences can go in an envelope and be pulled out again another day for a review activity. These sentences can be read and reread multiple times with the child. These are sentences cut in half, but you can also increase the level of difficulty when a child is ready and take a sentence from the page and cut it into its individual word parts. This is an excellent activity to do in small groups or individual instruction when you can hand each child a cut-up sentence. And then after the child arranges their cut-up sentence and reads it, they pass it on to the next person and they receive another one. And they can pass their sentence around the group so everybody gets a chance to do multiple sentences. So after the child works you lays the words out. Find the sentence, find the part of the sentence that begins with a capital. Do you see a word that begins with a capital? So here's an excellent opportunity to review that sentences begin with capital letters. And the very last word in the sentence has a period. Do you see one with a period? Yes, I do too. Let's put it here. All right, there are some more sentence parts here. Let's read these words. Top, the, put, the, on. And our sentence starts with you and ends with pot. So now we've pre-read the words. Some children really need that instructional support. Other children, not so much. So make a decision based on the child that you're with. We want to set them up for success and give them the support they need so they can do this activity successfully. You blank the pot. You the put, and then the child is going to puzzle through this. And as the child is puzzling through this, you can offer suggestions as the child needs to help reduce frustration and increase success. So you can take turns. So for instance, if I was working with a child and that child was really struggling with getting them in order and maybe was you top on the put and was lost, I would say, how about I take a turn, then you take a turn. And I would say, okay, my turn, you, I'm gonna try put. You put what? What are you going to put? And I might suggest to the child, let's try the. You put the what? What is it? Put the, and the child hopefully will read the three and choose top. You put the top, pot. Oh, there's two left. And then offer as much support as needed to get the last two pieces into place. Now let's read it. You put the top on the pot. Maybe that's a command. You put the top on the pot. Maybe I'm telling the helper in the kitchen to get the top on the pot. And if this is a child who's working by themselves, you can leave that sentence. Or if they want to mix it up and try it again, you can offer it. Child, mix it up and try it one more time. For a child who doesn't really remember the sentence that well, then this becomes a whole brand new piece of work for them that they've done once, and then they get to repeat it again. For a child with a memory of the sentence, who's going to be able to remember that sentence and know you put the top on the pot, well, then the second time through is not so tricky for them. So one time through is fine, but if you want to do it a second time, that's fine too. And doing 2 or 3 of these sentences with the child is something that the child typically enjoys doing. It's like a puzzle. Your prep time is almost nothing if you have a page printed out. You simply cut them up and the page has extra spaces between the words, and you get your sentence laid out and you let the child say, what comes at the beginning? Oh, that capital letter. What comes at the end? The period. And the child might even go through and read their words and begin to unscramble their sentence without much help from you as they gain the ability to be able to do this work. This is not easy work, particularly for a child who's dyslexic, to be able to arrange the words in their order. His rat dug. Well, see, that makes sense. His rat dug a pit. Oh, but we have a word left. That is a sentence, isn't it? Shall we try it and see if we can get pet in there? I wonder who is the pet. And prompt the child with questions. His pet. And if you want to, you take a turn and get the sentence started. All right, your turn. His pet what? Who was his pet? The rat? Okay. His pet rat. What did his pet rat do? Oh, he dug a pit. So prompt the child with those questions to help them to see the parts of the sentence and be able to put those in order so that they make sense. This helps the child not only develop comprehension, they begin to understand syntax. So this work is very important to do. It can be done at the end of a lesson. It can be done at the beginning of a lesson as a review activity, as a warm-up. It can be done in the middle of a lesson when you just need to take a break and do something a little bit different than what the child is working on. The easiest way to do the cut-up sentences is by breaking the sentences just into two halves, and a more difficult way is to cut the sentence into its individual words. So that is cut-up sentences, and it's an excellent activity. You can pull any sentences from any page, from any lesson page. You can take phrases, and you can take sentences, and you can do this exact same work with them. You do not have to wait until you come across a cut-up sentence page in the games book. You have phrases and you have sentences that you can do this work with. Just handwrite them onto a piece of paper and cut them apart. Handwrite them onto a strip of paper, onto word cards. Mix them up. The kids love unscrambling them and seeing what makes sense. They also love to act their sentences out sometimes. So that can always be a fun thing to do as well. We're doing cut up sentences here, where we have a sentence and you have to take all the parts of the sentence and arrange them in their order. So Justice just finished doing that one. Go ahead and read it, Justice.
Dan has a fist in his splint.
Right, awesome. So that is, you can take sentences and then have the children put them in order, beginning with the period. Beginning with a capital, ending with a period. And then this is a exercise that helps with syntax. You can use this with any sentence, and they don't have to be printed. You can make your own.